Godzilla, the legendary cinematic creature, is a colossal ancient marine monster, also known as a kaiju, that has become an iconic character in Japanese and international cinema, often portrayed as a giant reptilian creature, and depicted as a force of destruction, has the ability to breathe atomic or fiery breath, causing widespread chaos and devastation as it rampages through cities. The creature's origins are rooted in the consequences of nuclear testing, as it was initially portrayed as a prehistoric sea monster disturbed and mutated by atomic radiation. Over the years, Godzilla has evolved into a complex and multifaceted character. The character has become a cultural icon, featured in numerous films, TV shows, comics, and other media adaptations. Godzilla's popularity extends globally, and its symbolism goes beyond entertainment, reflecting societal concerns about the misuse of technology and the unintended consequences of human actions. Godzilla often displays a reptilian appearance, featuring characteristics like scales, claws, and a lengthy tail, reminiscent of traits commonly observed in reptiles, such as lizards. While Godzilla is a fictional entity that represents a variety of themes, this conceptual and symbolic monster might find inspiration in real-life creatures. Let's shift our focus back to the stars of the show. Hidden within the magical Galapagos Islands is a fascinating natural wonder, the marine iguanas. These amazing creatures bear a striking resemblance to Godzilla. On terra firma, marine iguanas may seem somewhat awkward, as if uncertain about their movements. However, once submerged in water, they undergo a remarkable transformation, exhibiting a surprising grace and agility that is truly astonishing. With their elongated tails, marine iguanas effortlessly glide through the water, resembling the fluid movements of Godzilla in the movies. It's captivating to see how both the real-world creature and its cinematic counterpart showcase the elegance of aquatic motion. Marine iguanas are truly unique creatures, exclusive to the Galapagos Islands, and have evolved remarkable adaptations to thrive in both land and marine environments. Their striking coloration ranges from deep blacks to vibrant greens and reds, varying based on their habitat and age. This coloration serves both camouflage purposes and as a means of regulating their body temperature by absorbing sunlight. Males typically grow to over 4 feet in length, while females are smaller, measuring around 2 feet. The marine iguana's tails serve a practical purpose beyond aesthetics. They use them to navigate and propel themselves through the water as they hunt for their primary food source, algae. These marine reptiles are exceptional divers, capable of reaching depths of up to 30 feet, 9 meters or more. Their ability to explore the underwater realm for extended periods allows them to access richer algae beds and evade terrestrial predators. Their sharp claws also play an essential role in gripping onto rocks, preventing them from being carried away by the ocean currents. One notable trait is their unique adaptation to marine life, where they are the only iguana species that forages and swims in the ocean. Their ability to dive for extended periods and feed on underwater algae sets them apart as exceptional marine reptiles. These distinctive adaptations not only distinguish marine iguanas in the natural world, but also present us with a real-life creature that shares some of the awe-inspiring qualities of Godzilla. The origin story of marine iguanas is a fascinating adventure of survival and adaptation. It's believed that their ancestors embarked on a journey across the ocean, likely hitching a ride from the Americas and eventually settling in the Galapagos Islands. Over millions of years, these ancestors evolved into different lines, with one becoming the unique sea-foraging lizards that we see today. This happened around 4.5 million years ago when marine iguanas branched off from their relatives who preferred to stay on land, becoming a group perfectly suited to the Galapagos marine lifestyle. Despite taking different evolutionary paths, marine and land iguanas retain the ability to mate, although their offspring are sterile and incapable of reproducing. This rare mixing is just one part of the complex and fascinating story of life in the Galapagos, showing how life forms adapt and survive in unique ways. When Charles Darwin initially arrived on the Galapagos Islands, he wasn't particularly impressed by the local wildlife. Upon encountering marine iguanas, he didn't mince words, describing them as hideous-looking due to their dark, grimy appearance and seemingly sluggish movements on land. But as he spent more time watching them, he noticed something pretty impressive. Despite their awkwardness on shore, these iguanas were surprisingly good swimmers. This shift in perspective helped Darwin see the bigger picture of how these creatures fit into the whole evolution and adaptation story. Marine iguanas have some really clever ways of making it in the Galapagos. For one, given their cold-blooded nature, they love to sunbathe on rocks after a swim in the cold ocean and, conversely, dive into the cool waters to regulate heat when necessary. This adaptability allows them to thrive in the diverse temperature zones of the Galapagos Islands. Since they can't generate their own heat, catching some rays is essential for getting their body temperature back up, which helps them move better and stay active. They also try not to move too much when it's cold to save energy and stay under the radar of predators. One of the coolest things about marine iguanas is how they eat seaweed and algae underwater, which means they end up drinking a lot of salt water. But nature's got their back with special glands that filter out the salt, allowing them to sneeze it out. This adaptation is crucial for their survival in the harsh marine environment where the ability of fresh water is limited. This unique trick enables them to feast on a marine diet without any salt-related health issues. Since they are primarily herbivores, feeding on algae and seaweed in the ocean, their specialized teeth and jaw structures are adapted for grazing on underwater vegetation as well. The reproductive strategy of marine iguanas is equally noteworthy. Female marine iguanas often synchronize their nesting periods, creating a communal approach to safeguarding their eggs from predators. This cooperative nesting behavior contributes to the survival of their offspring in an environment where resources are limited. Marine iguanas have a clever trick up their sleeves when their main food source, algae, becomes scarce. In times of scarcity, marine iguanas possess the remarkable ability to shrink themselves, enabling them to survive tough conditions. This rare skill shows their resilience as they adapt to fluctuating food availability. Once algae becomes abundant again, they return to their original size, as if illustrating nature's rhythm of scarcity and abundance. When it comes to regulating body temperature, ectotherms, like reptiles, fish, and amphibians, operate differently from mammals. While humans and birds can maintain a relatively stable body temperature internally, ectotherms rely on their surroundings to regulate their warmth or coolness. So when you see a lizard soaking up the sun on a rock, it's not just chilling. It's actually doing something super important for its survival. It's warming up to get the energy it needs to go about its day. And when it's cold outside, these animals slow down to save energy since the warmth they need to stay active isn't around. Ectotherms employ clever strategies to inhabit different environments. They may bask in the sun to warm up or seek shade to cool down. Some ectotherms have the ability to shiver to generate heat before beginning their activities. Their bodies contain special proteins and substances that aid them in coping with extreme temperatures, showcasing their awesome adaptability skills. Ectotherms' ability to thrive in environments with limited food availability is enhanced by their lower metabolic demands for warmth. Their activity levels are largely dictated by the weather, leading them to inhabit areas with warmer temperatures that are suitable for their behavior. The marine iguanas of the Galapagos Islands exemplify remarkable adaptability in response to changing conditions. During the onset of the El Niño weather pattern, when their food becomes scarce, these iguanas can shrink themselves by up to 20%. This fascinating ability may seem like something out of a sci-fi movie, but it's a biological reality. While not completely understood, it's believed to be a survival mechanism that conserves energy and enhances their chances of survival during periods of limited food availability. Smaller iguanas demonstrate greater resilience in challenging conditions, showing the advantage of this size-altering adaptation. Once El Niño subsides and the algae replenish, these resilient creatures can regain their original size, ready to make the most of the better conditions. El Niño really shakes things up for these iguanas, with their survival rates swinging wildly depending on the severity of the El Niño phenomenon. With climate change on the rise, we're looking for more frequent and intense El Niño events, which isn't great news for these iguanas. It highlights why we need to step up our conservation efforts to protect them and their home from the increasing threat of climate change. Marine iguanas have their breeding season during the warmer months in the Galapagos from December to May. This time of year is perfect for laying eggs and raising their young, even though it's when their food becomes harder to find due to the warmer waters. They get ready for this by bulking up on algae during the cooler, drier season. In the mating season, especially on Hispaniola Island, male marine iguanas flaunt vibrant colors to entice females, showcasing elaborate mating dances that include territorial defense and distinctive movements like head bobbing. Meanwhile, females carefully select the perfect spot to lay their eggs, ensuring they're concealed and secure for the safety of their offspring. The whole mating scene is pretty intense as the male has to put in a lot of effort to win over a mate. After mating, a female will lay about 6 to 8 eggs and leave them to hatch, timing it so that the new babies come into the world when there's more food available. It's a delicate balance, but marine iguanas have it figured out, showing just how connected life, survival, and reproduction are for these fascinating creatures. That's why it's super important to protect these marine iguanas, who are exceptional swimmers that have adapted to aquatic life. Over the years, they've continued to face challenges like habitat loss, human encroachment, and climate change. Therefore, understanding their aquatic behaviors, physiology, and habits is essential for effective conservation. Once we protect these reptiles and their habitats, we not only ensure their preservation, but also provide future generations with the opportunity to cherish them.